Hey guys, Scale here from Team Efficiency. How are we all doing? And welcome to this Clan Wars review. So in this review, I'm going to mainly focus on the tank selection and the tactics involved, not any sort of individual gameplay, because I watched this replay and you're about to watch me play extremely terribly. Alright, so we're on side 1 on Prohorovka. And DPS has chosen 3 50Bs, 3 IS7s, 2 E5s, 2 Bat Chats, a bunch of Russian meds, an STB1, and Object 261 artillery. This sort of team composition is good for setting up for vision control and for a big push, so the heavies can line up, push down. It's good for countering any sort of mass YOLO. So if a mass YOLO comes down the 2 line, the heavy tanks with the burst damage from the 50Bs behind them can really blunt it very quickly, as well as the IS7s and E5s can essentially create a push that the 50Bs and mediums can follow up on and deal a lot of damage too. On the opposing team, VPA in this battle from memory runs pretty much heavy mediums, which is pretty much what VPA always does. And a bunch of TDs and an artillery piece. I can't remember if it was a Bat Chat or a 261, but it was one of those two. Artillery choices for Prohorovka can be anything really. It doesn't really matter. 261's good because of shell velocity, and there's no real mass heals and stuff. Alright, so the opening engagement on this map was VPA definitely went over to the eastern side of the map, and DPS took heavy on the western side. DPS pushed their heavies all the way down, and a bat chat all the way down to the K line, just confirming that it's all empty. And then both teams now basically are setting up east and western respectively, looking for their opportunities, getting their spots, and that sort of thing. So for those that don't know much about Clan Wars, the northern side is the spawn one, that's the defender's side. The southern side is the attacker's side. In this battle, I believe we're defending this land. I'm not sure if it's a landing zone or something on the global map, but DPS is essentially on the defense. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to defend. You can attack people. So an interesting thing to note about the way that both the teams have set themselves up is essentially VPA has the initiative to pick where they want to attack because DPS has given them a lot of ground. They have a lot less real estate on the DPS side than the VPA side. However, the defensive location, instead of coming close to the railways, because they're so far away, and as long as DPS can maintain a vision control of that sort of central area, it's very hard for VPA to actually do a mass push through any point easily. Not saying you can't, but it's not easy because whatever damage they may be able to dig out would be essentially brawled out over a long period of time, so there's not going to be some easy mass bursts because of the way and the amount of distance between this 2-3 line and the railway. So that's something you really got to consider if you're on the attacking team. So yeah, as you see on the minimap, a lot of tanks are starting to reposition on both sides. There's a lot of poking. They're running the railway with the mediums, bat chats and stuff like that. Artie's doing its damage on both sides, getting those shots in. Everyone's looking for what the enemy team's doing, what positions they have, doing whatever damage they can with Artie and stuff like that, and poke shots without giving anything away. Now, if you had watched the other video that I had posted, which is Flex versus VM, the setup in that game is essentially similar to what VPA has done in this game. Heavily taken that eastern flank. As you'll find out later, VPA has a couple of TDs, 263s. they are probably set up on the hill like we did with Flex. That way, if the enemy ever tries to counterattack across the railway, those tanks up on the hill can do so much damage and remain unspotted mostly, depending on exactly where they are. But you can camo snipe from up on the hill if you know what you're doing. The hill position's also very strong at defending your southern cap, as it only takes one tank to spot the cap, and then everything up on the hill can shoot down on your cap, so it's very hard to cap anyone out from the southern spawn. So although the DPS side is very thinned out, and basically counting down the clock because they're on the defense, the majority of their burst damage is actually fairly central, so the 50Bs are closer to the middle than anything else, as well as just the majority of the team. So if they do push over north or south, it should be fairly quick response from our team. However, there is a little bit of a weak spot on the DPS setup, which is that southern eastern train track corner, where mediums are coming over and poking on our spotter at the front there, but they're outside of the draw box. And now VPA has decided, okay, that's the weak spot, so they're mass pushing over there with all their mediums and taking out that first spotter. So as you see, VPA has just flooded straight over, instantly killed and focused out the first tank, and now they're pushing in and getting in underneath the ridges. It's a very good play from VPA, that is, and everyone should always look to where you're going, you know, don't just YOLO in then sit up on top of the hill in front of the entire enemy team. Never ends well. Alright, so now is one of the hardest times for battle calls. This is basically where all the shit has hit the fan, and everything's happening faster than a caller can usually call. This is where the individual player skills and being prepared and experienced in clan wars can really make a difference for a team. Also, by the sounds, that VPA had the Arty and Airstrike consumables, which DPS did not, so RIP to DPS. So it's essentially just a massive brawl where both teams are just trying to focus down as many tanks as possible. So everyone's looking for that low health tank to get that damage in, to get that gun out of the game. And it's basically going shot for shot here, kill for kill between DPS and VPA. One of the problems with the VPA lineup against ours in this battle was that at this point in the brawl, the bat chats are on reload, that sort of thing, and the medium tanks are running into IS-7s and E5s, and the pens just aren't coming as quickly and as easily as they were before. And now the majority of the DPS team is all located here. So although the DPS team doesn't have the same big DPM as all the mediums, they have the armor and the ability to continuously brawl here. So as you saw, the IS-7s came in really late into the battle when all the tanks were injured. That high alpha and armor just made them like IS-7s are really good at brawling with other mediums. Unfortunately, I get wrecked there doing something very stupid. I played pretty terribly all this game, but oh well. Team carry me, please. And if anyone noted, the VPA moved the 263 from the north and across down into the one line. It's a very strong move from them. That 263 from memory did an absolute crapload of damage throughout this entire game. Uh, yeah, so that was a great move. Also, their arty had relocated into the north somewhere and was just bombing. Alright, so as it stands at this point in the battle, we have three heavy tanks and a medium to their arty, their TD, and the Object 140 medium tank. So really, VPA have the advantage with vision because of the Object 140. The unfortunate thing about the where the 140 ended up was it's in the little bowl in the middle of the map, and it's fairly hard for him to actually get out of that. Some of the DPS players, the IS7s, are noting that they're getting shot in the side and the back now, so the 263 on the VPA's team has relocated into the south and is basically camo sniping them in the back. The DPS side have sent the Batchat, which is a one-shot, to hunt down the arty. If DPS can remove the arty threat away from the heavies can essentially just play hold down and stay fairly grouped together. So as long as the DPS side can really focus their guns on point, there's a good chance that the vision advantage that VPA has in this situation won't be as effective. And VPA's arty gets caught out, so they just push in. It's never a terrible plan to just push in when you're getting surrounded like the way VPA were here. Way here. Can't even speak. The reason is if they could get both their tanks to focus out one IS7 and then move to the next one, then move to the next one before the third one or the Batchat can get back, there's a good chance they could have essentially focused their fire, isolated the enemy and killed them fast enough that they would have a really good chance of continuing on the game. Unfortunately, that they just couldn't get the guns on point, and now I7s are in position. So unfortunately, it ended up with a loss for VPA and a win for DPS. And that was a nice close game from both sides. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more.